Morning, everybody. How you doing today? I wanted to talk to you about the importance of names. And the reason why this is top of mind is because in all my years of watching the NBA, the National Basketball Association, I've never seen anything like what happened on Friday. And what happened was there was a 3-team trade that fell apart because of a name. So the 3 teams were trying to organize a trade where, they'd send assets along, and I guess 2 of the teams never spoke directly. They spoke to the intermediary. And the difference is that there was a miscommunication in the player's name. There's 2 players with the same last name, Brooks, on the team, and one team thought they were getting Marshawn Brooks, where the other team thought they were trading Dillon Brooks. And the whole thing fell apart because of a name. And while that's amazing and hilarious and kind of sad all at the same time, it does bring up an issue that we face commonly within technology, especially within security and privacy, and the importance of a name. Now, we use acronyms all the time, way too often. We love throwing acronyms in front of things because it's hard or time consuming to say the full name for things. And that's fine generally, though we do have a lot of acronym namespace conflict where we're referring to one thing and people are referring to another. Or just the assumption that if I spit out an acronym, you'll actually understand. That's a problem. So there's a depth of communication problem there as well. But one of the things where it hits me nonstop, or 2 of the areas that I'll call out here that I will have, I have pieces that I'm writing right now, is around serverless and around DevOps. So serverless, yes, we were long past the whole serverless has servers thing. We know that, that's fine. What we're having a challenge now is people are referring to serverless. So let me back up. The original connotation around serverless was an architecture pattern that used managed services. So services where you basically just put something in, got something out. You didn't have to manage the weeds below. So no containers, no operating systems, just database access, just compute function running, and things like that. So this is the architectural concept of building a serverless application. But people now that are coming into the community, more and more are using serverless within the context of functions as a service. AWS Lambda, Azure Functions, Google Functions. They call that serverless. And while that is a serverless service, that isn't the entirety of the concept. And that's the problem, is people are referring to this, especially with security, they're talking about serverless security, but they're only talking about functions as a service and the security around that. They're not talking about the architectural pattern. That's a problem, that's a challenge. There's no easy answer to that one, but that's a difficulty in naming, is that the name means one thing to the one community, it means another to a community that's coming out, that's also trying to push that definition on everybody else. And that's mainly driven by marketing and startups in the space, and people who are late to the game and not taking the time to research the actual community. So there's a challenge there. The other challenge I want to talk about is DevOps. A lot of people heard the term DevSecOps. I can't argue enough against this name. Even though it's a descriptive name, it runs counter to the principles of DevOps in the first place. It runs counter to the whole point. The idea of DevOps, again, is a cultural thing. It's not a position. It's not a tool. It's a cultural change that looks at breaking down barriers between first development and operations, but in general, breaking down barriers and delivering IT services in another way. And saying that, oh, you need a whole new acronym shoved in there is kind of ridiculous, and it actually repeats a lot of what security's done wrong in the past. So importance in names. And that's sort of a continuing theme we see often, is that a name will have one meaning within the community to start with, then over time it will expand, and that's great. It's just that it loses clarity as it expands because the original community thinks of one thing and a new community thinks of another. Now, in the case of serverless, it's actually narrowing the definition, which is bad. It's losing scope, whereas before it referred to an entire area, which was exciting and a lot of things going on in that area. Now it's being referred to only a part of that area, which is a challenge. I'm not sure how the community is going to sort that out. And when it comes to DevOps, they're trying to expand the definition when really it needs to stay where it is. Nowhere near the epic level of fail of an NBA trade falling through because you didn't bother to reference the first name of a player. But nonetheless, names are important and critical, but they should also change over time. It's a really interesting challenge within a community, and those communities aren't even defined. What's your latest naming problem, naming challenge? How do you handle it? What do you think about serverless? What do you think about DevOps versus DevSecOps? What do you think about that crazy NBA trade that never happened? Let me know online at MarkNCA, for those of you in the vlogs, in the comments down below. On the podcast, me at markn.ca as always. Quick logistical note, we're quickly reaching episode 150. We'll actually hit that later this week, and when we do, I'm going to shut things down for the year. Going to take a bit of a Christmas holiday, and then we'll be back in the new year with a refreshed visual, with a refreshed approach to the show. So I'm looking for feedback there. So again, online MarkNCA, vlog comments down below, and as always, email me at markn.ca. What do you think about Mornings with Mark? Where do you think it should go? What would you like to see from this show in 2019? I hope you're set up for a wonderful, fantastic day. Look forward to speaking to you online and seeing you on the show tomorrow.